Grab your coffee, mama. It's time for coffee, clients, and nap time. I'm Sarah Marie, and this is your guide to building a business that works for you and your family. Here, we'll dive into creating a thriving business that lets you be the hands-on parent you want while designing the life you've always dreamed of. So if you're ready to balance business success with family life and make it all work in a way that feels right for you, then let's dive in. Hey mamas, and welcome back to Coffee, Clients, and Nap Time. I'm Sarah Marie. Today I want to talk about the identity shift that happens when you become a mum in business. So before I begin, I need to tell you about a moment I had a few weeks ago. I don't know if you've seen the trend, but everyone is posting pictures from 2016. And so I started looking back to where I was 10 years ago. And then I started looking back even further to old photos of myself. I'm talking pre-business, pre-kids, different hair, different energy. And I genuinely didn't recognize myself. Not in that, wow, I've aged kind of way, but more in a, who even was that person kind of way. The woman in that photo had different priorities, different fears, and wildly different dreams. And she had no idea who she was about to become. And I felt this strange combination of grief and pride. Grief for the version of me who just didn't exist anymore, and pride for this version that I've become. And underneath both of those feelings was this question: when did I change just so completely? If you've ever looked in the mirror, literally or metaphorically, and thought, I really don't recognize myself anymore, well, this episode is for you. Because I find nobody warns you about this part. Nobody tells you that building a business as a mum will fundamentally alter who you are. That you'll outgrow identities you thought were permanent. That your body will hold the tension of becoming someone new while grieving for who you were. So today we're talking about it. The identity shifts, the grief, the integration, and why your nervous system sometimes feels like it's just short-circuiting when you're in the middle of it all. So, where to start? Let's start by naming what's been lost. Because in order to integrate, we really need to be able to acknowledge where we've been. Simply put, when you become a mum, you lost the identity of who you were before children. I know that's kind of blunt, and I don't just mean your free time or your sleep schedule, even though they may seem like the most obvious things that you lose. I mean the fundamental way that you moved through the world. Before kids, your decisions were your own. Your body was your own. Your time belonged to you. Your identity was singular. You were you, defined by your work, your relationships, and your interests. Then you had kids, and suddenly you became mum. And that identity is all-consuming, especially in those early years. It eclipses everything else. You're no longer Rachel, who loves writing, or Emma, who's brilliant at strategy, or Kate, who's the creative and ambitious one. You're a mum. And for some of us, that felt suffocating. Not because we didn't love our children, but because we could feel other parts of ourselves disappearing. Maybe you left a career that gave you structure, validation, a clear sense of progression. Maybe you were someone in that role. You had a title, colleagues who respected you, annual reviews that told you exactly how you were doing. And then you left, either by choice or necessity, and that identity dissolved. You became the one who used to work at, or the one who left her career to have kids. So you started a business, maybe to reclaim some for yourself, maybe for financial reasons, maybe because you couldn't bear the thought of going back to a job that no longer fit the life that you were living. But starting a business as a mum means you're not just one thing. You're not the stay-at-home mum, and you're not the career woman. You're this hybrid that doesn't fit into anyone's neat categories. And as your business has grown, you've outgrown another identity, the scrappy beginner, the one who was just figuring it all out, the one who could hide behind, I'm new at this, because that version of you is gone too. So you've lost who you were before kids. You've lost who you were in your previous career. You've lost that safety of being a beginner. And all of that deserves to be grieved. But let's talk about what this grief actually feels like. It's not always tears and sadness. Sometimes it just shows up in your body in ways that you maybe don't recognize. You might feel it as a tightness in your chest when someone asks you what you do and you stumble over that answer. You might feel it as a heaviness in your throat when you see photos of your old life. You might feel it as restlessness, this constant low level anxiety that something's not quite right, but you can't name what. Your nervous system holds the memory of who you used to be. And when you're becoming someone new, there's this period where your body is trying to recalibrate. It's trying to figure out, are we safe in this new identity? Do we know how to be this person? This is why identity shifts can be so destabilizing. It's not just mental or emotional. Your body is literally adjusting to a new way of being. You might notice that you hold tension differently now. Maybe your shoulders are tighter because you're carrying the weight of being both mum and business owner. Maybe your jaw clenches when you're trying to prove yourself because some part of you still feels like an imposter. Or maybe you notice moments of complete overwhelm where your nervous system just shuts down. You go numb. You disconnect because the gap between who you were and who you're becoming feels too big to bridge. This is grief, not the dramatic crying in the shower kind necessarily. It's the quiet, body level grief of outgrowing yourself. But your body isn't betraying you when it feels this way. It's trying to protect you. It's saying, this is big. This matters. Pay attention. So when you feel that tightness, that heaviness, that restlessness, don't push it away. That's your system processing the enormity of who you are becoming. Now, I want to talk about something that may sound strange at first, but stay with me. You are not one person. You are many. There's this part of you that's the devoted mother. There's a part that's the ambitious business owner. And there's a part that's still the woman you were before all of this. And there's the part that's terrified of failing. And there's the part that's excited about what's possible. And here's where it gets complicated. These parts don't always agree with each other. The mother part might feel guilty when you prioritize work. The business owner part might feel frustrated when you choose family time over a business opportunity. The part that remembers who you were before might grieve the freedom that you've lost. The part that's building something new might be exhausted from constantly proving itself. This is the internal conflict that no one really seems to talk about. You're not just navigating external expectations. You're navigating a war inside yourself between different parts that all want different things. And when you step into more visibility, when you start to become more public about your business, these conflicts intensify. Because now you're not just managing these parts internally. You're making choices about which parts you actually show to the world. Do you show the mum part on social media? Or do you keep your kids completely separate? Do you share the struggles or just the highlights? Which version of you gets to be visible? All of these parts are real. All of them are valid. And the goal isn't to choose one and suppress the others. The ultimate goal is integration. Integration means that these parts can coexist. The mother and the business owner aren't enemies. They're collaborators. The woman who you were and the woman you're becoming aren't in competition with each other. They're simply evolution. Now, all this leads me to something fascinating that I've been exploring more and more in my own work with myself and with mums in business. And that's that we each have a natural energy blueprint. It's a way that we're designed to operate, make decisions, and interact with the world. And becoming a mum, doing a business, these major life shifts often force us to operate against that natural blueprint. We start responding to external pressure instead of our own internal knowing. We start moving in ways that don't actually suit us. For some of us, we're designed to respond to what life brings rather than to initiate constantly. But business culture tells us that we need to be making things happen, pushing, driving, creating momentum. So we exhaust ourselves trying to be initiators when we're actually meant to be responders. For others, we're designed to be powerful initiators. But motherhood taught us to be constantly accommodating and responsive to everyone else's needs. So we've suppressed that initiating energy and then wonder why we feel stuck. Some of us are designed to know things deeply before we commit. We need time, space, and clarity. But the world tells us to decide quickly, move fast, trust our gut immediately. So we override our natural decision-making process and end up in situations that just don't feel right. Others are designed to know things in the moment, spontaneous, intuitive, immediate clarity. But we've been conditioned to overthink, to seek external validation, and to make pro-con lists instead of trusting what we know. And why does this matter for identity? Well, when you're operating against your natural blueprint, you're going to feel like you don't recognize yourself because you're not actually being yourself. Part of the identity shift of becoming a mum in business is figuring out, how do I actually work? What is my natural rhythm? What decision-making process actually serves me? And how am I designed to move through the world? And then, of course, having the courage to honor that, even when it looks different from everyone else's versions. Because that version of you that's trying to operate like someone else, she's going to feel uncomfortable. The version that operates according to your natural design, though, she's the one you're meant to become. So, how do you actually integrate all of this? How do you bring these different parts together without feeling like you're being torn apart? First, you need to acknowledge that all your parts have value. The mother part keeps you connected to what truly matters. The business owner part gives you purpose beyond caregiving. The part that remembers who you were before reminds you of your own identity outside of these other roles. The part that's becoming someone new is brave enough to grow. None of these parts are in the wrong. The conflict comes when we think we have to choose between them. Integration means creating a life where being a mother makes you a better business owner, and being a business owner makes you a better mother, where these identities inform each other instead of competing. Being a mum has made you more efficient, more clear about priorities, more empathetic with clients, more protective of your boundaries, more creative with problem solving. And these aren't limitations, they're superpowers. And being a business owner has shown your kids what it looks like to pursue something you care about, to build something from nothing, to handle rejection and keep going, to be a whole person, not just their caregiver. Integration also means you stop apologizing for either identity. You stop saying, sorry, I have to leave for school pickup on client calls. You stop saying, sorry, I work at the school gate. You stop shrinking whichever part doesn't fit the room you're in. Instead, you own it, both parts, unapologetically. But integration can only happen when your nervous system feels safe in this new identity mix. When you're not constantly in fight or flight trying to prove you're enough in both roles. When you can take a full breath and feel, yes, this is who I am now. Mother and business owner, both, fully. That's what integration feels like. Not balance, because nobody's life is perfectly balanced. Instead, aim for integration, where the parts work together instead of pulling you apart. Now, before we wrap up, I need to tell you the truth that nobody really wants to hear. This identity shift, it's not the last one. You are going to keep evolving. Your kids will grow and need you differently. Your business will expand and require different things from you. Your priorities will shift, your capacity will change, and your understanding of who you are will deepen. And every time that happens, you're going to outgrow another version of yourself. You're going to grieve what you're leaving behind. You're going to feel uncomfortable in the gap between who you were and who you're becoming. And you're going to wonder if you're getting it right. But that discomfort is not a sign there's anything wrong. That's the growing pains of becoming. That's what evolution actually feels like. The old version of you and the new version of you, they both coexist. The woman you were before kids is still in you. And the woman who started this business is still in you. And the woman you're becoming is already in you. They're all here, all real, all part of who you are. You don't have to erase who you were to become who you are. You get to carry all of it with you. The grief and the pride, the loss and the growth, the ending and the beginning. And when you feel your body holding that tension, that tightness in your chest, that heaviness in your throat, or that restlessness you can't quite name, that's not a problem you need to fix. That's simply your system saying, this is big, this matters, You're changing. So take a breath. Let your shoulders drop. Feel your feet on the ground. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not lost, and you are not failing, and you are not doing it wrong. You are just becoming someone new while honoring who you've always been. And that's the bravest thing that you could ever do. So, mamas, if this episode made you feel seen, I want to hear from you. Send me a DM at balancedbizmama on Instagram and let me know, what identity shift are you navigating right now? And if you want to be in a community of women who understand this journey, who are also navigating the messiness of being both mum and business owner, come join us in the Balanced Biz Mama Circle. This is exactly the kind of conversations we have, the real stuff, the uncomfortable stuff, and the stuff that nobody else is really talking about. So remember, mama, that identity shift you're experiencing isn't a crisis. It's simply evolution. And it's completely normal to grieve who you were while stepping into who you're becoming. All your different parts, the mother, the business owner, the woman you were before, and the woman you're becoming, they are not in competition. They are all of you. And when you let them coexist instead of forcing yourself to choose, that's when integration happens. So, honor who you've outgrown. Feel the grief in your body and let it move through you. Get curious about your natural way of operating in the world, and then keep stepping forward into who you're meant to be. Because I don't want you to ever think that you're broken when you're actually just evolving and you're doing exactly as you're supposed to be. So until next time, honor this evolution, breathe, and let your parts integrate. And remember, you've got this. Thanks for joining me on Coffee, Clients and Nap Time. If you've enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another mum who's ready to build their dream life. You can also join our Facebook page or Instagram to stay connected every day of the week. The link is in the show notes. Just remember, you've got this, and I'm here to help every step of the way.